Welcome to the Trading Journal number 1. Now, the goal of this video is to really just document my process through day trading. I have recently started day trading and I've been really in the learning phase and still currently am. And so right now, all I'm doing is trading about one share at a time. As we're getting into this video, this is not financial advice or financial education. This is simply musings of my own journal, trying to categorize what I've learned, what I'm doing. This is simply for entertainment purposes if you're watching. Please do not make trades based on what I do. Do your own financial research. Become your own financial expert. That is what I'm trying to do with my life, and that's what I encourage you to do with yours. Make your own decisions, do your own thing. Again, this is not financial education. This is simply for entertainment purposes. Thank you so much. Now, why is this on my channel? If you're seeing this, I decided to send it public. I've really been in indecision on whether I would send this public or I would keep it private. I want to share more of my life with you guys so you know what I'm doing, going through, and not just my tech reviews. Trading really came out of a need as a creative professional for furthering the future income of myself and my family. As a creative professional, I can only make as much as the job I am currently doing. And so the scalability really only comes in the opportunity of more employees, taking on bigger projects and more work. So for me, trading becomes an alternate income that I can do anywhere, anytime. And so that's really what sparked the idea of wanting to get into trading. And specifically, day trading makes the most sense to me, the way my mind works. I'm going to be trading off of technical analysis, not off of fundamental analysis. If you know much about trading, fundamental analysis is literally learning about a company, understanding its balance sheets, understanding its annual reports, understanding its profits and losses and margins and all the intricacies of running and owning a business. It's most familiar with Warren Buffett and Benjamin Graham. That's really what people, when they say, who's the fundamental trader, it would be the Warren Buffetts of the world, the Charlie Mungers of the world. So keep that in mind. I am doing technical trading. So basically what that is I'm reading chart patterns. So as you can see here on the screen, you have a chart pattern in front of you, and I'm reading the different candlestick charts to see where a stock is moving, checking the volume to see where the volume is pushing the stock in that current moment. That is how I'm focusing on trading specifically for my strategies and techniques. Two of the books that have been most influential on me would be Trend Following by Michael Covel. This is an incredible book about trend following. Really, he's writing more about long-term traders, so people who are in trades from anywhere. I think he said it was like 100 to 300 days. I'm in a stock anywhere from 1 to 6 minutes at times. I am trading momentum in moments. And we'll get into that more as I'm doing these journals, but I just really wanted to have this first episode be kind of a kickoff. The next book that's been super influential is The Daily Trading Coach. Trading, I have discovered very quickly, is a psychological battlefield. It is more about between your head than it is ever about understanding chart patterns. Once you understand chart patterns, you can pretty much know what to expect. When you look back at a stock and in hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, of course, that stock was doing that. I mean, look at the chart pattern. But in the moment, if you don't follow your rules, if you don't say, okay, I'm going to get in at this point and out at this point, I'm not going to get in if it does this, I'm going to get in this position size. If you don't have the psychological warfare taken care of, it's going to be a struggle. So trading to me is actually more of a personal character growth than it is an immediate profit goal. I want to see my character grow. I want to see my discipline, my mental faculties being able to be organized and controlled in a positive way rather than my emotions taking over me. And so, like I mentioned earlier, trading is an opportunity for more income and for an exponential growth in my income. But more than anything, it really is about the discipline of my character. A lot of my life is ruled by fear of uncertainty, fear of the unknown. I don't really necessarily have an immense fear of the lack of control. But what I do sense is I sense a fear of certain things are out of my control that should be in my control. And let me kind of explain the difference. So somebody who might struggle with, being a very controlling person might have to have the coffee organized a certain way or, the TV at a certain volume. That's not really like what I experience. What I experience is more of that thing, let me not say thing, finances, since we're talking about trading. Finances ought to be something that I understand and have the power over to as much as I can. And so if lack of knowledge, if lack of emotional discipline, if lack of the understanding of how, for instance, stock markets work, keeps me from being able to be successful, that was in my control and therefore is on me if I don't succeed in it. And so for me, a lot of things that I struggle with are the focus of the fact that I should know how to do that. And right now it's out of my control because I haven't learned how to do that. And that overwhelms me. And so everything I'm doing, whether it be, my tech YouTube channel or learning to trade, is taking me to a position where I have the understanding to have control over that area of my life. Now, I do understand that the market is the market, that I am under the dominion of God, and He really dictates where my life goes ultimately. And whenever I think I'm fully in control, God is ultimately in control. And so I have to balance my learning and my knowledge of what I'm capable of and ultimately the sovereignty of God. And so those are two things that I try and balance solely in my spiritual walk, about my heart's contentment and my heart's control and my pride versus the learning that I'm capable of. And if I just say, oh, well, whatever the universe wills, if that's something you're thinking, or for me personally, whatever God wills, but I didn't take the time and do the due diligence to learn how to do that thing, and therefore it took over me because I was lazy. I was just reading in Proverbs this morning that the lazy man will be left with nothing, where the diligent will have much. And the thing is, I want to be the diligent man. I want to be somebody who's done everything I can to succeed, everything in my power to succeed. And whatever may happen, I did my best. So that's where this whole trading journey comes from. And let's kick off the actual trading journal, so you have a little background on what's going on here. So the trading journal is something that I'm going to try and do on a daily basis because I'm not much of a writer. I have a YouTube channel, as you guys know. I'm a video person. I love video. I love talking rather than writing. Otherwise, I'd write a blog, right? And so the journal comes from the Daily Trading Coach. You have to document, or you'll never know where you went right or wrong. Because what happens is your mind can convince itself of whatever feels best in the moment, rather than actually fleshing out what just happened, hearing yourself speak it or seeing yourself write it and looking at it for what it actually is. And so that's the point of the journal. So we're opening up today, had a trading day on October 24th, 2022. My goals for the day, oh man, I didn't get my my list. Let me get this real quick. I also wanted to grab a cup of tea, so I got that as well. Okay, so my goals for the day were based off of a few things that I've been noticing over the past few weeks. So I often make a good move at market open. So for me, that's Central Standard Time around 8 a.m., but for market time, it's 9 a.m. Eastern. So I often make a good move at market open till about 8:45 or 9 a.m., okay? From there, if I haven't made a good move, or even if I've won some percentages, usually the market pulls back at around 9, kind of corrects itself and gets ready for a second move. And so usually from about 9 to 10, I'm really just scalping. And what I mean is like trying to take really small profits, like little tiny like 1 cent moves rather than the momentum of a trade moving up. I'm focusing on being basically right now a gap and go momentum trader. Talk more about that, or you can research videos on YouTube about that. This is more about the journal. And so what I found was I usually give back profits from about 9 to 10. And then I would get frustrated. I'd do some breathing, I'd calm down, and then from 10 to 10:30, I'd either try and make back my profit to break even, or I would slightly, come up on the day, maybe like 5 to 15% tops. But I would usually lose anywhere from like 15 to 30% from 9 to 10. And so what I said is, okay, so from there, I said that currently I'm more afraid and familiar with losing than I am excited and feel familiar with winning. Why? Because right now, when I win, I seem to win moderately, but when I lose, it feels like a big loss. And that's been true because what happens is I make small wins at that market open, maybe anywhere from like anywhere from like 3 to 9%, but then I give back so much profit. Okay, so I give back all of that and more, and then I try and win it back. So I have these big losses, and then I feel like the wins are small because I'm winning back maybe anywhere from 15 to 30%, but it's usually just to break even. And so I'm trying to, what I try to do today is ignore the market move from the 9 to 10:30 and make a really good move at open. And if I've made a good move, go out. So here was my plan today. Only trade gap and goes or familiar stocks breaking through VWAP. These stocks must be found on my own personal scans. So it's either breaking through or it's above and it's breaking out of a key resistance level. So I didn't add that caveat, but that's what I had going into this morning. Now another goal I had was as soon as I hit 10% or above, I'm out for the day. Here was my thought process there. My thought process there was that if I can consistently hit anywhere from 10 to 15%, 3 to 4 days a week, that's better than hitting 25% on one day, negative 15% on another day, plus 5% on another day, negative 7% on another day, and then maybe plus 3% on another day, right? So if I can get 30 to 40% consistently green days, then that proves to me that I have a disciplined trading strategy. Now, I can't control if like the market just isn't doing well and I go down. But if I can discipline myself to make the small wins over time, that will extrapolate upon itself. And like my buddy who's been trading with me says, I mean, if you make 13% of the day, that's more than most people make on their IRAs in a year. And so that's kind of the mindset I'm trying to approach this with. Okay, so let's get into how I did with that today. So today the market opened and my scans had me watching, AGTC, MOTS, and MULN. So let's go ahead and switch over here. So I was watching those three. Right now I have MOTS pulled up. So MOTS opened up. It opened up at around $2. It hit up to about $2.13 or so. Forgive me, my phone is ringing. And right there at $2.13, I bought in. I was like, okay, this is moving up. This is looking good. It's above VWAP. I'm going to go in. But right here, you can see in this section, this is where I bought in. I saw some resistance. It wasn't moving up at the momentum that it previously was. And I thought, okay, I'm going out. My goal is to make small wins, not hang on, hope for big wins, but make really any losses. Because I'd been really struggling with hanging on too long and not cutting my losses quickly and focusing on stocks that were actually moving because I want to be a strong momentum trader. That's my first strategy that I'm focusing on. Okay, so I got out at 213. From there, I was also watching Mullen, and Mullen broke up. I bought it right at opening, so about 47 cents. So it opened right about 47 cents. I bought in, high 47s, wrote it up to just below 49 and sold right at the peak. So that was a good move, made about 2% there. And actually on MOTS, I did make like maybe a 0.25%. So right now I'm green. So I was green on the day. From there, let me check my journal or my trades. From there, I jumped back into Mullen from 48.6 to 49.2, made a 1% move. All right. After that, MOTS continued to move up. It had a slight pullback here. I actually went in at about 220, but my computer was acting up. Like I was downstairs trading. I try and like change up my environment to see just how I'll do. My computer was acting up and it was freezing. It wasn't showing me anything. So it actually pulled back way below where I would hang on to. I would have cut my losses way quicker here, but actually pulled back to about 210. I hung on to it anyway through this, and I rode this section here for a few minutes. And then once it grabbed, it ripped up to 230, and I sold at 230. Okay, really happy with that move. I believe I made a 5% move there. Yeah, so that was a 5% move. That was the longest I held the trade. It was about 6 minutes. So that was the best trade. Also in that time frame from there, I went ahead and I bought in to Mullen again and made a move from 49.97 to 50.79. Again, these are very small moves trying to catch the true momentum of the stock in the moment. So from there, let's see, 49. Okay, so went from 49 up to 50. Wait, where are we at? Okay, here we go. So it went from 49 up to that 50. And then from there, I again played these dips and bounces all the way up. Now, I was approaching that 9 o'clock point, and that's basically how I traded this morning, was dip, bounce, dip, bounce. Dip, momentum. And so I was approaching that 8:45 to 9 a.m., and I was at 9%. So I said, okay, I need to make one more good trade to hit my 10% goal. But I knew I was approaching that point where we were going to have some serious pullback. So I went in on both Mullen and MOTS right here at about 8:58, went in 229 and 51 cents. And from there, I got a 2-cent gain on MOTS, and a 1-cent gain. It was about a 1.5 cent gain on, so MOTS, 2-cent gain, Mullen, about a 1.5 cent gain. And that was the final push that I needed to make. Made it up to 12%. And after that 12% made it up, we saw a big pullback. So I rode this here to about the 230 range, saw a big pullback. I stayed out. It went up again, and then we saw this big crackdown. So I was out about right before 9 a.m. So I rode it up to right about here from 229 up to 230. I took the smaller, really the very small part of the move, but I wanted to focus on nailing that green and avoiding red on the day. And as you see, according to my chart, I only had one red trade. It was about 1% down. Now, could I have hung on and made bigger moves to protect myself against the possible pullback that would have given me a bigger than 1% loss? I could have, but I was really playing my loss very tight. Basically, my goal was to either make a small profit or sell at the buy-in price. And so I really was focusing on moving based on momentum more than anything. I wanted to only buy in when momentum was happening and sell even if I was in a good position if there was any hesitation. Because a lot of what happened to me over the past couple of weeks is I would buy in, there'd be hesitation, I'd be like, okay, let's see if it goes up, hold and hope. And it would just cut back. And then after it cut back, it would rip up. And so I thought, okay, either it rips or I sell break even, wait for a dip, and then buy and move up. And that was my focus today. And it really paid off well. My goal is to have these anywhere from 10 to 15% days consistently. Right now, I'm only trading one share at a time for any stock, just to develop a percentage focus more than a dollar amount focus. So as you see here on my screen, let me see if so if you see here on my screen as we fade over, this is my column. I'm only focusing on percentages. So I'm making one stock. I'm buying one trade, one position at whatever price. So I would have bought, 48 cents of Mullen. I spent 48 cents. And my focus is to learn how to trade percentages because I don't want to have a monetary value connected to my trades. Because when I'm trading bigger size, I don't want to think about the size. As soon as you think about the size, or at least when I think about the size, I've accidentally gone in like 1,000 shares at like $5 a share. That was last week, and luckily I lost nothing because it was a very poor trade. I didn't even actually mean to make the trade. I almost lost it. It was very emotionally taxing. It was overwhelming. And so for me, I want to focus on trading percentages. So no matter what size I'm trading, I'm always trading based on an objective factor. And that is my goal. There comes another thing that I've been thinking about as well. And again, this is a long trading journal because it's not necessarily meant to be any content that gets tons of views or is educational. It's just simply a journal. And that's really the goal here. This is just, if you're watching this, it's really for entertainment purposes. And I need to actually clip that in the beginning because you have to do that with financial stuff. And here's my point in saying that. When it comes to finances, we are much excuse me, don't want to put this on you. When it comes to finances, I am much more scared to lose a few $100s than I am to lose hours, days, or even weeks of my time. But the crazy thing is, money you can get back, time you cannot. I don't know what it is, but we are so programmed as humans to fear the loss of money more than the loss of time. Whether it's based on a consumeristic mindset, status, only as people get older do they realize that their time was more valuable than their money. And only as people get more money do they realize that money was not as valuable as time. But when you don't have money, it feels like the most important metric in your life. It feels that way for me. And so I'm trying to desensitize myself to money in the fact of making percentages more of the game. So it's a gamification of trading when I look at percentages rather than financial ups and downs. But I was talking to my wife and I said, I'm more afraid to lose money than I was ever afraid to lose my time. When I started my YouTube channel, I would spend hours upon hours upon hours not making money. And when in all reality, I was losing my time, and my time is technically worth money. It's worth something. And it's kind of a hard concept to like speak, but it's something that was more of a realization to me recently. And so for me, I want to value my time more than money. And the reason I'm saying that is I've lost about $300 trading. And that's been harder than the 5 years it took to build a YouTube channel that was actually financially sustainable. And that just like caught me off guard. So I spent about over a year on my YouTube channel before I ever even made $300. But I lost $300 in a matter of about a month. And it was harder to lose the $300 in a month than it was to spend a year to make $300. And to me, that should not be how our mind is written. It should be different. We should be more concerned with our time than our money. And to me, when you spend money in the market and you create a journal, and you trade based on education, the $300 you lose should be $300 that you spent to learn. And then I thought about it further. People often buy like trading courses and trading education. And they're so willing, I'm so willing to spend $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to learn how to make money, right? Either how to start a YouTube channel, how to, day trade, how to start an Amazon FBA business. Like we're so willing to spend that to get education for somebody to tell us how to do what they did. But the craziest thing is that person had to go through the losses themselves. You can learn from them to avoid some of the mistakes they made, but you'll never avoid all the mistakes. You're going to make your own mistakes. I'm going to make my own mistakes. So it's really good to get fundamentals and foundations in a topic, but you're not going to get rich without losing, whether it be time or money, because you have to make the mistakes yourself. You have to go through the process, right? Like I've only lost money trading to this point. That seems crazy, but I think it's the whole losing at that this day, last week, this was Wednesday, I lost 24%. Okay. A couple days earlier, I think it was like a week before, I lost 27%. Now, again, this is 27% based on like one share, but I'm doing percentages. I'm not doing money right now. And so I want to nail down my percentages before I jump in fully to the market. And so again, each of those days where I lost a lot, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the market, and I learned what emotional weaknesses I have. And I have to face those. That was one of the things that I read in the Daily Trading Coach that really like blew my mind. I'm somebody who very much was raised to ignore negativity and focus on positivity. But what that does is it doesn't allow you to learn from the negativity. Negativity is very powerful. So I'm going to read this real quick. If you serve as your own trading coach, a great place to start is with the perspective that feelings contain information. Research in cognitive neuroscience finds that emotion is an essential component of rational decision making. When the brain is damaged and becomes unable to engage in emotional processing, the result is profoundly distorted behavior. Your coaching goal is not to banish the feelings associated with difficult trading, a strategy that only prevents resolution, or to blindly act upon them. Rather, the most constructive step you can take to change a feeling is to give it full acknowledgement, and here it is, and extract the vital information from that feeling. And so for me, whenever I would make a bad trade, okay, and this is something else he says in the book, and I would say, okay, I'm done for the day, I haven't done well, I'm just going to step away, breathe, calm down, and put that behind me. But if I don't acknowledge that, if I don't get on the camera or get in a journal and write down what happened, why I was feeling a certain way, what happens is we forget. So that money lost wasn't valuable. It was wasted. So you don't want to waste losing. You want losing to be the pivotal learning in your process, whether that's starting a business, whether that's day trading, whether that's starting a YouTube channel, whether that's being a creator. You have to use learning. You have to use negative losing to be learning. And I think this is a really simple concept, but for me, when it comes to money, it's a very emotional thing. And so for me, if I ignore it, walk away from the market, I come back as the same person who lost. And the next time that situation arises, I'll make the same mistake. Unless I sit down, I have a discussion with the camera, I flesh out what happened, and then I can concrete that mistake in a positive way to have it be a catalyst for future growth. And that is the most powerful thing about trading for me, is I get to lose or win every day. And every day is a new day. And every day is either I lost or I won. It's a black and white situation. And that is something that YouTube didn't give me. And so through all the growth that I had through building a YouTube channel, I missed out on this type of character growth. And ultimately, that's why I'm trading. I'm trading to grow into the person I want to become, because there's certain things about my character that I look ahead in 40 years and I can see the ultimate ramification of their current effect on my life. And I want my life to look differently. Don't want my life to look like it looks now, magnified. I want my life to look different. And so I'm taking the steps forward to not trade for money, but trade for character growth and ultimately receive the benefit of that, which is financial freedom, which is financial growth. But until you can overcome the character aspect of any business, of any practice, of any discipline, you'll never reap the true rewards and benefits. You'll always feel like the floor is going to fall out. You'll always feel like, well, I traded good because that was a bull market, or because that was the real estate market, or because the real estate went up and so I just got in it and I just rode the wave. But I don't really know what happened. For me, I want to know exactly why it happened. I don't know exactly the moves I made. I want to know how it's repeatable in a different type of market. I want to be able to win in a bear or bull market. I want to be able to win in a consolidating market, because there's always something that's moving. There's always something that's changing or growing. And I want to understand exactly why. And that's why I'm willing to trade one share for months before I ever pursue making money with the discipline. And that's because when it boils down to it, that's what I did with my YouTube channel. I learned the discipline for free. Well, I didn't learn it for free. I spent a lot of my time. And so that's trading journal number 1, about 28 minutes. But honestly, these are going to be really fun for me. I love to review tech. If you've seen my channel, it's a strong passion of mine. It's a conviction of mine for people to get the right laptop for their needs. And it's going to continue. But this is just a further expression of myself. And this is my channel, Benji Kaiser. And I thought about opening a new channel. But I thought, if this is going to be one of my life's works, having this YouTube channel for as long as YouTube lasts, then it should contain more of me, not just my perspective on tech. And so I hope that this adds a layer of color to what you know about myself, what you know about what it means to be a creative for me. I'm more of an analytical creative. I'm not an artist as much as I am an organizer. And the organization comes out in the laptops I review. I'm going to cut this journal now until we continue further. Let me know if you like this. Drop a comment. If you stayed on this long, bless you. I'll see you guys in the next journal.